Have you ever wondered why society is so obsessed with avoiding the darker aspects of life? Think about it. We live in a world that constantly distracts us from the realities of illness, death, and despair. Our lives are filled with endless entertainment, social media feeds, and self-help books that promise eternal happiness. Yet beneath this veneer of perpetual positivity lies a truth that many of us dare not confront. Life is inherently filled with suffering. Emil Cioran, a Romanian philosopher, dared to confront this truth head-on. Unlike many of his contemporaries who sought meaning and happiness, Cioran's writings are a deep dive into the abyss of human suffering. For Cioran, misery, pain, and despair weren't just occasional inconveniences to be sidestepped. They were central to the human condition. He believed that by facing these darker aspects of life, we could find a sort of uncomfortable yet profound truth about our existence. Cioran's own life was a testament to his philosophy. Born in Romania, he witnessed the horrors of war and the cruelty of human nature. These experiences deeply shaped his worldview. Rather than turning to religion or philosophy to find solace, Cioran found his salvation through writing. For him, writing was not just a means of expression, but a way to cope with the overwhelming despair that life often brings. When you read Cioran's works, you quickly realize that his style is anything but straightforward. His aphoristic and poetic style can be difficult to comprehend. He doesn't spoon-feed you answers. Instead, he challenges you to grapple with complex ideas and emotions. This complexity is part of what makes his work so compelling. It forces you to reflect deeply, to question your own beliefs, and to confront your own suffering. One of the most striking themes in Cioran's work is his view on failure. In a world that glorifies success and achievement, Cioran saw beauty in failure. He believed that the pursuit of happiness was not only futile, but also a distraction from the more profound experiences of life. According to Cioran, it is in our moments of failure and despair that we come closest to understanding the true nature of existence. Consider this: society constantly tells us that we should be happy, that we should strive for success, and that we should avoid failure at all costs. Yet how many of us have found true, lasting happiness through these pursuits? More often than not, the relentless chase for success leaves us feeling empty and unfulfilled. Cioran argued that by accepting and even embracing our failures, we could find a deeper, more genuine sense of being. This might sound counterintuitive, but it's worth contemplating. When we stop running from our failures and start acknowledging them, we begin to see life in a new light. We understand that it's okay to feel pain and despair. These emotions are not signs of weakness, but rather indicators of our humanity. They remind us that we are alive, that we are capable of feeling deeply, and that we are part of a larger, often incomprehensible, tapestry of existence. Cioran's philosophy is not about wallowing in despair for the sake of it. Instead, it's about using these darker moments as opportunities for reflection and growth. When we allow ourselves to fully experience our suffering, we strip away the superficial layers of our lives and get to the core of what it means to be human. In this raw, unfiltered state, we find a kind of beauty that is both haunting and enlightening. So why do we avoid the darkness? Why do we run from our suffering? Perhaps it's because we are afraid of what we might find. But Cioran teaches us that it is precisely in these moments of darkness that we discover our true selves. By facing our suffering head-on, we can achieve a deeper understanding of life, one that goes beyond the shallow pursuit of happiness. As you contemplate these ideas, consider how they apply to your own life. Have you been avoiding your own moments of despair? Have you been chasing after happiness, only to find it slipping through your fingers? Maybe it's time to take a step back and embrace the darker aspects of your existence, not as a form of self-punishment, but as a path to a more authentic, meaningful life. Emil Cioran's writings might not offer the comforting answers that many of us seek, but they do provide a powerful lens through which to view our suffering. They remind us that life is not always about being happy or successful. Sometimes it's about facing our darkest moments with courage and finding a unique form of beauty in them. So, the next time you feel overwhelmed by despair, remember Cioran's words. Let them guide you through the darkness, not away from it. Embrace your suffering, confront your failures, and discover the profound insights that lie within. In doing so, you may find a kind of salvation that is far more enduring than fleeting happiness. Cioran's critique of philosophy is perhaps one of his most provocative stances. He believed that the true value of human existence lies not in the abstract theorizing of philosophers, but in confronting life in its raw, unmediated form. Traditional philosophy, with its endless categorization and systematization, often serves to distance us from the immediate experience of being alive. For Cioran, this abstraction was a form of escapism, a way to avoid the uncomfortable truths that lie at the heart of human existence. In many ways, Cioran saw himself as an anti-philosopher. He advocated for experiencing life directly, without the filters and frameworks that philosophy often imposes. This doesn't mean he dismissed the intellectual rigor of philosophical thought. Rather, he questioned its ultimate utility. By constantly dissecting and analyzing life, we risk losing our connection to the very essence of what it means to exist. Cioran urged us to step away from this intellectualization and to immerse ourselves in the visceral, often chaotic experience of living. Interestingly, there was a stark contrast between Cioran's public persona and his writings. Despite the dark, brooding nature of his work, those who knew him personally often described him as surprisingly cheerful and engaging. This duality is fascinating and perhaps indicative of the cathartic role that writing played in his life. Through his work, Cioran was able to confront and process his despair. The act of writing allowed him to channel his inner turmoil into something tangible, providing a sense of relief and clarity. This cathartic process is something many of us can relate to, whether it's through writing, art, or another form of expression. Creating allows us to externalize our internal struggles. It gives us a way to confront our emotions and experiences, to make sense of them, and ultimately to find a form of peace. For Cioran, writing was not just a means of intellectual exploration. It was a lifeline, a way to navigate the often overwhelming reality of existence. Cioran was also highly critical of systems, be they religious, moral, or philosophical, that sought to provide tidy explanations for the complexities of life. He believed that these systems were often designed to shield us from the darker aspects of existence, offering false comfort and simplistic answers. By adhering to these systems, we avoid confronting the more troubling, yet profoundly real, elements of our lives. Take religion, for example. While it offers solace and a sense of purpose to many, Cioran saw it as another form of escapism. Religious doctrines often promise an afterlife or a higher meaning, diverting our attention from the immediate reality of suffering and death. Similarly, moral systems impose rigid frameworks on our behavior, often ignoring the nuanced and multifaceted nature of human experience. Philosophical systems, with their intricate theories and principles, can sometimes feel like intellectual mazes, trapping us in endless loops of thought, without ever bringing us closer to the raw truth of existence. Cioran's rejection of these systems was not born out of nihilism or a desire to see the world burn. Rather, it was a call to embrace the messiness and ambiguity of life. He believed that by confronting the darker aspects of our existence head-on, Without the crutch of prepackaged explanations, we could achieve a more authentic understanding of what it means to be human. This approach requires a certain level of bravery. It's far easier to cling to comforting beliefs and systems than to face the harsh realities of life. But Cioran argued that true growth and understanding come from this confrontation. By stripping away the layers of societal and philosophical constructs, we get to the heart of our existence, an existence that is often painful, confusing, and filled with uncertainty, but also deeply real and profoundly human. As you reflect on these ideas, consider how they resonate with your own experiences. Have you ever felt trapped by the need to categorize and explain everything? Have you found solace in systems or beliefs that, upon closer inspection, seem to distract you from the more troubling aspects of life? Perhaps it's time to take a page from Cioran's book and embrace the raw, unfiltered experience of living. This doesn't mean abandoning all structure or belief, but rather approaching life with a sense of openness and willingness to confront its darker aspects. By doing so, we can find a form of understanding that is more genuine and grounded in reality. Cioran's philosophy challenges us to look beyond the surface and to engage with existence in a way that is both courageous and deeply introspective. Ultimately, Cioran's work serves as a reminder that life is not meant to be neatly packaged and easily understood. It is complex, often contradictory, and filled with moments of despair and beauty. By facing these complexities head-on, we can find a form of meaning that is both elusive and deeply personal. In the end, Cioran's critique of philosophy and rationality is not a rejection of intellectual thought, but a call to balance it with the raw, often uncomfortable experience of being alive. It's an invitation to step away from the safety of abstract theorizing and to engage with the world in a more immediate, visceral way. By doing so, we can find a deeper, more authentic understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Cioran's belief in life's meaninglessness aligns closely with the tenets of absurdism. He posited that life has no intrinsic meaning, and any attempt to impose a grand narrative or purpose is essentially futile. This perspective can seem bleak, but for Cioran, it was a liberating truth. By accepting that life is inherently meaningless, we free ourselves from the relentless quest for purpose and can instead focus on the raw experience of living. His critique of structures extends to both religious and philosophical systems that claim to provide definitive meaning to our existence. He questioned the validity and utility of these systems, seeing them as comforting illusions rather than genuine sources of truth. For Cioran, the search for meaning within these frameworks often led to disillusionment and a detachment from the immediate experience of life. By challenging these structures, he encouraged a more direct engagement with the world, unmediated by preconceived notions of meaning and purpose. One of the more radical aspects of Cioran's philosophy is his embrace of suffering. Unlike many who seek to avoid or mitigate pain, Cioran saw experiencing agony as a profound aspect of the human condition. He believed there was value in suffering, a depth that could lead to a more authentic understanding of life. In many ways, this echoes existentialist themes, where confronting the inherent suffering and absurdity of life can lead to a form of personal enlightenment. Cioran's nihilist perspective did not advocate for a life devoid of value or purpose. Instead, he promoted experiencing life raw and unfiltered, embracing its inherent meaninglessness. This approach requires confronting the full spectrum of human experience, including despair, pain, and suffering. By doing so, we can achieve a more profound connection to our existence, one that is not clouded by artificial constructs and comforting illusions. For Cioran, despair was not merely an emotion to be avoided, but a state of being that held its own unique beauty. He saw profound despair as a testament to the intensity of the human experience. In those moments of deep anguish, there is a clarity and purity that strips away the superficial layers of life. revealing its true essence. It's in these depths of suffering that we can find a form of beauty that is both poignant and transformative. Reflecting on my personal experiences, I find resonance with Cioran's philosophy. There have been moments in my life where despair felt overwhelming, where the weight of existence seemed almost too much to bear. Yet, in those moments, there was also a strange sense of clarity, a rawness that cut through the noise of daily life. It was as if the veneer of normalcy had been stripped away, revealing the bare bones of what it means to be human. In those dark times, I found a peculiar kind of beauty. It wasn't the comforting, serene beauty we often seek, but a stark, almost brutal elegance. It was the beauty of being fully present in my suffering, of experiencing life in its most unadulterated form. These experiences, though painful, brought a form of understanding and acceptance that I might not have reached otherwise. Cioran's writings offer a unique lens through which to view these moments. By embracing despair and acknowledging the meaninglessness of life, we can find a form of liberation. It's not about giving up or succumbing to hopelessness, but rather about seeing life for what it truly is and finding value in the experience itself. This perspective encourages us to live more authentically, unburdened by the need to find external validation or purpose. In embracing this nihilist perspective, we allow ourselves the freedom to experience life in all its chaotic beauty. We can appreciate the fleeting moments of joy and connection, knowing they are temporary and part of the larger tapestry of existence. At the same time, we can confront and accept the darker aspects of life, recognizing them as integral to our human experience. This approach requires courage and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths. It's not for the faint of heart, but for those who dare to engage with life in this way, the rewards can be profound. By letting go of the need for meaning and embracing the raw, unfiltered experience of living, we can find a deeper, more authentic connection to ourselves and the world around us. Ultimately, Cioran's philosophy challenges us to rethink our approach to life. It asks us to question the systems and beliefs we cling to and to confront the inherent meaninglessness of our existence. In doing so, we can find a form of beauty and understanding that is both elusive and deeply personal. Thank you for watching this video. If you found these ideas thought-provoking, please like and subscribe for more content that delves into the depths of human experience and philosophical inquiry. Your engagement supports our journey into exploring such profound and challenging topics.